Fables of La Fontaine. A Scythian Philosopher. A philosopher once, when Cynthia born, had somewhat with study his brain pan outworn, made up his mind for pleasure and profit to seek repose for a time in the land of the Greek. And there he made friends with a man of the kind, whom Virgil so well in the Georgics defined, a man who's a king for himself he controls, and a god for he blends his own will with men's souls. He found him with pruning knife grasped in his hand, pruning here, snipping there, in all parts of his land. As tranquil as Jove, here he cut off a twig, there lopped off a branch to make others more big, for nature, experience had taught him, is prone to waste in rash gifts all the wealth of her throne. The Scythian, brought up in town, was downcast, and looked at the ruinous waste quite aghast. He exclaimed, "My dear friend, lay your pruning hook down, and let nature judicious take care of her own. For at best you are taking much pains to deflower the fruits which time's tooth will but too soon devour." The old man replied, with a rustical grace, "I cut useless ones off, and give useful ones space." Struck by wisdom like this, with no moment's delay, the Scythian homewards at once took his way, and no sooner had got there, but took up a bill, and at cutting and hewing showed wonderful skill, hewed branches, snipped twigs, and persuaded his neighbors to share in his rude horticultural labors. The result is soon told, hacking trees without reason in summer or spring, taking no thought of season, must lead to results which no words can belie, for the trees thus instructed instinctively die. Now the Scythian stands for a symbol of those who wish all the pathways of pleasure to close. Hoot hoot at ambition, forbid a new dress, and from lexicons banish the sweet word caress. For myself, though by custom not giving to swearing, I'll say that by Jove, such old dolts there's no bearing. They wish us to choke whilst we've plenty of breath, and whilst full of life's vigor, to simulate death. Well, there you have it. What's this all about? Well, the philosopher from Cynthia heads out to Greece to take some time off and rest. So while he's going there, he's in the fields, the farmland outside of the city, and he meets a farmer, a man who's a king of his own life, and he's doing what he's good at and what he enjoys. He's out pruning his garden, cultivation. So this cosmopolitan philosopher, cosmopolitan meaning city dwelling, sees this guy and says, "What are you doing? Put down your pruning hook and, let nature take care of this itself. Why are you doing this?" So the farmer patiently explains to him, "Look, I'm just cutting off the useless twigs and the dead branches and getting rid of the weeds so that I can cultivate this garden and it will actually perform better. Make it more useful for growing food." So the Scythian philosopher says, "Oh my, this is wonderful." So he turns around and he runs back to his country and picks up a bill, which is a stick with a blade on it. And he goes to the park and he goes to the forest and he starts hacking indiscriminately. And he convinces his neighbors to do the same. and the result is all the trees die. So, this is another example of the Dunning-Kruger effect. The Dunning-Kruger effect basically means a little knowledge is a dangerous thing. People study something very briefly, get it, the gist, and they think they understand it well. They think anybody can understand this. But the truth is, this is deceptive. The road to mastery is very difficult. Yes, when you start, it seems very easy, and then you soon hit a plateau, and then you realize you know nothing, and then you study, and it seems that you're not really learning anything, and through frustration and hard work and perseverance, eventually you start learning truth, and you start learning more details and more fine details, and if you stick with it long enough, 10,000 hours is the magic number that some people came up with for mastery. Eventually you learn your trade and you become a king, basically, in your chosen field, which is basically what the farmer was. So, the saying, a little knowledge is a dangerous thing, is exemplified here because the philosopher born in the city doesn't know anything about horticulture, farming, anything like that, goes out and starts destroying things. So, what's this all about? Well, this is directed at people who, as I explained already, but another thing this tells us is people like this, they ruin things for everybody. They wish all pathways of pleasure closed. They don't like ambitious people. They don't like people who have things they don't have, new dresses or whatever. And they don't understand words like caress. They're basically bulls in a china shop. But they also want to control your language, control what you can do, control this, control that, take away your pleasure. So basically choke the life out of you while you have plenty of breath and you're full of life. They want you to basically live like a drone. Now, when the communists took over Russia, they confiscated the farms from the farmers who knew what they were doing. They executed the successful farmers because they said, oh, you must be successful because you swindled the other farmers or you somehow took advantage of them, and they didn't like that. They don't like equality of they wanted an equality of outcome. They wanted everybody to be equal. But you should have equality of opportunity. Everybody should have the ability to try something, find something they're good at, and excel at. And if people are allowed equal opportunity to try something, like racing, for instance, some people are naturally going to be fast. Some people are naturally going to be slow. Most people are going to be average. And instead of changing the outcome so that everybody crosses the finish line at the same time, like giving the slow people a super head start or allowing all the middle people to start 30 feet ahead of the fast people, and then you start the race, they all finish the finish line at the same time. This may sound wonderful, but in reality, it's terrible. Everybody shouldn't be rewarded equally if some people are better at something than others. People should do what they're good at. If you enjoy it and you don't mind not being best, you can do that as well. But participation trophies destroy everything, takes away all the pleasure. People who are good at things aren't going to enjoy it. The people who are bad at things are going to be rewarded for something that they're really not good at. Things like this. So this is what he's warning us about in this here. You know, if you are good at earning money, then you should earn money. It shouldn't all be taken away and given to other people. This is going to destroy things. It also reminds me of Voltaire's famous novel Candide, where he, at the end of the story, talks about cultivating your garden. And that's cutting the dead branches, weeding, things like that. But your garden, he's talking about, is your brain. Plant good seed in your brain, good ideas. You develop them, you pluck out the bad ones, you keep the good ones. This is the road to mastering your mind and mastering your body. Cut out the bad food, cut out the smoking, the drinking, the drugs, lack of sleep, things like that. It's like weeding your garden, making your body stronger, giving it what it needs, exercise, good food, proper sleep, giving your mind proper education, things like that. Too much of something is bad, too little of something is bad. You want to find the golden mean. Walk the path. Straight line. Get rid of excess, get rid of regress, and find balance and harmony, and stay on the road of mastery and develop. This is basically what this fable is trying to express, and basically warning you not to run off half-cocked and doing foolish things like this foolish Scythian philosopher. Anyway, if you have anything you'd like to add or talk about down below, please do. Till next time, goodbye.